So greetings to all. Today we are going to know something which is very important from experimental point of view and writing your manuscripts and all. Like management of literature is very important, and at the same time when we are basically referring to the references that needs to be arranged, it's a hectic task. In fact, it's from the technical point of view, we are actually putting up a lot of time which is actually non-technical in a way. In case you are communicating to a particular journal, and if your bad luck is there, then it might not be accepted in that journal, it come back, and then you want to communicate it to another journal, you definitely need to change the format in which the references are written. So that becomes a big headache if you are doing it manually. So to our rescue comes software which is basically called EndNote, which can maintain and put your references in the format you would like to make it, and at the same time you can do a lot of editing to your manuscript without actually thinking about the arrangement of the references. So this is a software EndNote which is having this kind of interface. It's a very simple interface. So the EndNote software, you can consider it as a library, so the building for the library. But within the library what we need is basically books. So what you do, and in the books can be arranged in a particular pattern. So for example, I have made two patterns. So let's say this is one rack PN for project, and this is another rack, let's say work one. Now let me make one more rack. Let's say let me create a group and name it as industrial revolution, and let me say this is another rack. Now in this rack I need to put in some books. Now what are those books? Those books are nothing but my references, or the journal publication references that we are going to put. Now how exactly do I use it? Now when you install the software EndNote, you will be basically having this software along with a plugin which is basically involved in your Word. So when you open up your Word file, you will see that there is a plugin which is basically called EndNote, which is actually involved here. Now we'll be using this and the EndNote software to actually put it there. So let's say I'm writing down basically an article, and let's say let me write down something. So the industrial revolution, let's write down that began in, let's write it down as Great Britain. So we have this. Now basically I need to put a reference to it if we are basically communicating it to any journal. So what you do is you basically can go to Google Scholar and find out some references. So let's say I already typed in there, but let's say I have typed in industrial revolution, and I go to this particular page, and we have got a number of people. So the industrial revolution started basically the 1760. So you have this. Now if you go to this Google Scholar, you have a number of buttons below each of these articles. So we have this, which is actually in a site. So if you just click on it, we can see that these are the options we have, and these are the external files that can be downloaded. Now I'm using EndNote, so what I can do is I can just click on this, and I have a file which is being downloaded. So I can just double click and click on this. Once I click on this, I basically see that this file has basically opened up in this library. Now you can see this reference that I have imported is basically nothing but unfiled. So I've not put it into any rack, you can say, as an analogy. So what you can do is we can just take it and drag it and put it in industrial revolution. Once you put it in the industrial revolution, we have it here. The point is, even if you don't put it there, still it's there in the library, so you can still use it, but that is more better way of arranging it. So we put it there. Now I go back to my document, I go here and I go to this EndNote button. Once I click it, I have this option of insert citation. I click this. Now what do I need to exactly type in here so that I can find that reference? So for that, what I do, I usually see any of the keywords here. So the keywords that are there might be the name of the author, or a part of the title, or the entire title, or the journal name, and so on. So what I do is I can see that this is the name of the author, Ashton, so we'll just put it there. So what I do here is I go for insert citation, and I put Ashton here, and then I put this, and I can see this comes up, right? So this is, I can just check that, okay, this is journal, and this is the name on, and so on. And so what I can do is I can just double click on this, and basically this will be inserted as a reference. If you look into this, you can see that this is the format of the reference. Now your journal might be asking you for a different format. So what do you do is you can go for style, and you can see you can change the reference by this. Let's say this is another format we have, and we have a number of formats. So if you go for select another style, we have got the entire list down here. Sometimes it does happen that your software might not be coming up with all these formats. So what you can do is you can download externally from the web page. So once it's done, now what I do is, okay, I've selected another one. Let me go back to the Vancouver original one. Okay, we have it. Now what is the point here? Now what we can do is let's slide down another line. So there was a transition from manual made objects to, let's say, machine made, right? That was that motto of industrial revolution. Okay, so we have this machine made. Now I basically want to put up another references here. So let me say, for example, I'll go back and let's take another reference here. Let's say this is the reference I want to take up. Okay, what I can do is I can go back to this site and I'll just repeat the steps. I'll go for EndNote here, and then I can just click on this. Once I click on this again gets imported, and then I can just take it up and then just drag it and put it in my library, and then I go back here. Now what's the keyword for this? Let's see. So this is gen send, right? So let's see if we can put it there. So what we can do is we can go for here, insert it, jm.cn. So we have this, and we double click and we have this number 2. Now you see the beauty is that I'm not arranging at the end. So once you keep on typing and keeping up and putting up the references, all the references will be arranged at the end on its own. Now suppose I want to delete this part. Now if you delete this part, this references goes away, and then this becomes 2 should become 1, right? Now in case you are not using the software, that has to be done manually. You have to basically delete this, you have to delete this, and at the same time you have to change this 2 to 1. What I'm doing here is I'm just deleting it, and it is updated on its own, then it automatically becomes 1, and that is the only reference which stays back. So this actually saves a lot of time. You can also use it to your thesis. Once you start with using this, you'll find it to be very much user friendly, and it's very helpful for the software, and you can put up as many references as you want. So EndNote is a very useful software. You can definitely ask your institute or your guide to get you one licensed version, and that should definitely work. And at the same time, in research, more important is looking into the technical point of view rather than arranging for the references. So with that, I'll end today's lectures up. I'd just like to ask you to please like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel, My Knowledge Stop, and I hope that you find something useful in this. And in case you have any more suggestions for any other software, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.